Data just smashes it out of the ballpark here.
Data? No. No, sir. But it's what you've always wanted, Data. To become human.
Yes, sir. That is true. But I never wanted to compound one illusion with another. It might be real to Q. Perhaps even you, sir. But it would never be so to me. Was it not one of the captain's favorite authors who wrote, "This above all, to thine own self be true"? Sorry, Commander. I must decline.
It's pretty awesome how, I bet if Data was given divine powers, which he really is. You look at Data, I mean, he's got super strength, he's got so many more advantages than humans do, and you look at his emotional counterpart, Lore, well, I guess that's what it is. It comes down to emotion, doesn't it? Because Lore is Data, but with emotion. I don't know. That is potentially a thing. I don't know. But Data also has human elements to him, and it's a very human thing that Data does by simply refusing it. And I don't think it's just Data thinking along the lines of how a human would respond, but he is responding that way because he isn't human. You understand what I'm saying? For instance, if he was human, he would accept... Well, that's not true, though, because, it comes to what's going on with Riker as the individual versus humanity as a whole and their response to this situation. I don't know if you're going along with me on this or not. Alright, so Riker then goes off to Geordi, and the logical thing for that is Riker makes Geordi no longer blind.
And you, my friend, I know what you want.
Waves his hand over Geordi's visor, and now Geordi can see. And, just a great moment here, how Geordi can now see everything, and it just all comes into focus for him.
You're as beautiful as I imagined. And more.
Oh, man, you look at the episodes where, future episodes after this one, so at the time this episode came out, we didn't know what it looked like for Geordi, but when we later did see what it looked like for Geordi, my gosh, man, you can barely even see anything. So, I tell you what, if I were Geordi, I would have freaked out even more than he did. LeVar Burton was, when he's not wearing the visor, he just looks so young back in 1987. And he's got those wide, huge eyes, those incredibly expressive eyes. And that was one of LeVar Burton's trademarks, I guess, was his eyes. Did a lot of acting through that, and it was pretty cool that he got to play a blind guy. But Geordi never really looked right without that visor. But oddly enough, got used to it in the movies, when Geordi had no visor in the movies. And, of course, all I think that was the movies, maybe, was, listen, you've been wearing that stupid visor for how many years now? Let's just give you the paycheck, and you don't have to wear those anymore. We'll just give you some funky contacts. But I think it was more that than, we're improving technology, because Geordi is infinitely cooler with a visor, and that's how it should have been for his whole entire lifetime, I think. But at the same time in the movies, you're also sort of rooting for Geordi, going, yeah, you've had an upgrade, no more visor. I've got mixed feelings about that, I guess. But man, if I were Geordi, and I would just saw that stupid little pixelated, colorful, yellow thing that is a human through that visor, I would have been like, just freaking out beyond belief. I couldn't articulate anything. I couldn't speak anymore after being able to see what real life is like. Anyway, Geordi takes all that, reels all that in. He responds to Riker, no thanks, I don't want to stay this way. I don't like who I have to thank.
Then we can throw away the visor.
I don't think so, sir. Price is a little too high for me. And I don't like who I'd have to thank.
Geordi even begs, he begs to be put back the way he was again. It's kind of amazing.
Make me the way I was. Please.
So Riker, he's got no choice but to comply. And so on, and Picard's just sitting back in his chair watching it happen. Oh yeah, and so Riker goes on to Worf next. And Worf, the warrior Worf with no tie of his own kind. And
Proud warrior Worf, without a single tie to his own kind.
Something I actually thought when Where No One Has Gone Before was playing at the theater, I actually thought that that was the episode with that crazy lady of Worf's from back in Worf's rougher days. I thought that was going to be in that episode, but it turns out it was this one. So this scantily clad Klingon female appears, and Worf and her start, the lady not exact opposite of a lady. The female Klingon sees Tasha, she strikes at her, thinking she's competition or something, I don't know, and so animalistically, barbarically, whatever, that's Worf and the woman start duking it out on the bridge. Nothing what as we humans would consider romantic, but yeah, beating each other up essentially. And one of the most infamous lines of Star Trek The Next Generation, there's so many infamous lines in this episode, and famous ones too. You've got, I don't remember, but anyway, in this instance, Geordi says,
"No! She is from a world now alien to me."
Worf, is this your idea of sex?
This is sex.
Worf, is this your idea of sex? And Worf goes, "This is sex." And it's so, it's very humorous, but not really humorous actually. It's quite a moment, and Q is surprised by Worf's reaction to it. He says, Worf goes,
"But I have no place for it in my life now."
No place, microbrain. What possesses you?
"She is from a world now alien to me." This sort of signifies how Worf has moved on from the days in his life where he would where he was involved in that sort of thing, right? And Worf has matured, and he's grown up a little, and he's more of a moral guy now, more honor, as they say. And Q, who has addressed Worf as "you macro head with a micro brain," he doesn't understand why Worf is behaving that way and refusing all that. But anyway, Wesley goes over to Riker and asks, can I be put back the way I was too? Can I be, I want to get there on my own. After Q tempts Wesley and says, "But it's easier, boy. Listen to Riker."
Commander Riker, it's too soon for this.
If this is because your mother objects.
No, I just want to get there on my own. Honest.
But it's easier, boy. Listen to Riker.
Wesley says no. And so Riker has no choice but to restore everybody back the way they were.
How did you know, sir? I feel like such an idiot.
Quite right. So you should.
And this is what's great. Q was testing humanity through Riker, right? And Riker failed, technically speaking, as far as the wager was concerned, right? Because if Q won this game, won the test that was all centered around Riker, then Picard would lose his starship. And if Q lost, then he would not be able to bother humanity anymore. Forever. For eternity. But if the game was all centered around Riker, then technically Q would have won because Riker completely failed. And I have an opinion on that, on how Riker, what was going on with Riker a little bit more. I'll tell you that in a second. But it was the rest of the crew that represent